Okie dokie, you guys. I'm outside again. Hi there. Um, just a tiny bit of a follow up. Coffee. It's coffee time. I don't know about you guys. It is, I've no idea, 11, 11:30, I think. Mmm, God, caffeine. So, a bit of a check in with cards as well. Um, I kind of feel there should be more berries. Yeah, there you go. Because I've got berries for the birds in the winter time. I'm also outside. I don't think there's lots of people around at the moment, except the builders who are still there. So I'm gonna keep the sound of my voice down slightly, hopefully. That is so good, you guys. The decision has been made. I have quit the social restaurant. It's so difficult. It took several weird dreams and a lot of nudging. So the last vlog I did was last Saturday, and today's Monday, the 2nd of September, yes. And the last vlog I did, I showed you a series of Mary L cards as to my theme of vindictiveness, that I was going on about for a while there. It was in there among other themes, okay? And then after that, I had said, I think I'd shown you this one already, the Two of Cups that I'd pulled that morning. And I was still so much in two minds, really, about the whole social restaurant and about the things that have happened. And also trying out for myself, deciding things for myself, especially in order to protect myself in the future from things recurring again and again. That's something that I've never done. I haven't learned how to do that. I never knew how to do that. And so it's still fairly new to me. And now that I have done this, I've made this decision. I don't feel guilty in the slightest. I feel fine. I'm happy. I should actually be getting cake because I'm relieved and sort of ecstatic. Hang on a second, because the wind blew one of my cards out of the picture here. I'm just going to keep them over here. So yeah, but it really took me going back and forth between the two extremes for 3 whole days, I think. And in between other things, I've been watching movies, I've been doing other things. But each and every time, this sensation of feeling completely misunderstood, basically, just came back to me again and again. And it hurt, and my whole heart area was like scrunched up and miserable. And, you know? And then what I do is I decide, sort of, to quit. And then after a while, I go, yes, but there's all these pluses to the work and the clients and the surroundings, and it's nice to be outside and deal with people, have to, interact with people. Normally, I don't interact with people at home that much because I don't have any relatives here. I have a few friends, but not many because I haven't lived here all my life. And so then, this is what you get. You get a life that's fairly self-centered, basically. So I was so much in two minds. I had the Two of Cups card, and I pulled two more cards after that, and what I got was the Two of Pent and the Two of Wands. And then I quit. I gave up. It's like, okay, I can sort of see where this is, what the idea is. And that was Saturday after the other vlog, and I hadn't really made a lot of sense of the Nine of Discs that I had also, I think, Friday, where maybe it's also about drawing your conclusions and protecting yourself. I have no clue. It all depends on what your need is, and you still have to figure that out for yourself, whether whatever the cards say, right? You still have to make sense of it for yourself. And I think I actually did that in the end. I sort of decided that what would it be like for me to not have to do this anymore, to not have this type of, um, I suppose, difficulty because they're Muggles and I'm a pagan. There you go. That's basically it, really. And I haven't grown up around here. I've grown up in the craziest, weirdest circumstances that you can imagine. There are other people who have had those types of backgrounds that I have met on and off. And most of us just have a really hard time dealing with ourselves, basically. And it's not easy. It just doesn't, it's never 2 days the same in a row, whatever. So, in the end, I sort of started imagining for myself, what could I be? How would I feel if I just quit? If I just give it, if I do finally decide to give it up, and what happens then? And so I went like not from the perspective of what it would be like from an obligation viewpoint, because I have always done the past 20, 30 years of my life, I've done everything that I needed to do in my life from, I've motivated myself solely from a sense of duty and obligation. Because that's the other side of this story, So I feel really good now that I've decided and managed, and I've communicated with them. I've communicated with my supervisor, and she's fine. She's really rational and, fine with it, because it's volunteer work. She can't force me to do anything. And she asked me to do how I thought that I would, finish up with this work, because I do have one more evening that I have to work there at least, and that's not this Thursday but next one. And then I said, of course, yes, I just want to do that run. I just want to do that session. And because I said I was going to, and the other people that tend to do most of the work aren't, they're on holiday, so I wasn't going to drop everybody, just boom, and you look at, you sort it out amongst yourselves. That's not my style either. So theoretically that should all be fine. And this week she asked me to jump in if needed. So then potentially I'd have to show up at 5 o'clock and just help do a bit of dishes and things like that. So that is also fine. And this will avoid me having to, I don't know what it is really. Because there have been these episodes where there was actually a miscommunication of some sort, and I just can't deal with people who get angry and upset, and everything just, it gets thrown in your face. It's like I get blamed. I feel that way. And of course, it's what my mum used to do with me. I've been traumatized. So I think that I deserve a medal for the years that I did spend. And I am giving myself that medal now by quitting. Just by saying, this is fine. I've got my YouTube. I've got my husband. I've got relatives on his side of the family. I don't have any family of my own that I see. My dad is probably still around, but he's probably in a nursing home by now, because last time we checked, the people were still, there was still somebody living in the house, but, well, maybe he's even passed away. I have no idea. I've no way of finding out, really, other than the internet. So, I suppose I'll make do. I wanted to show you my cards, the new cards, the first new card that comes out. Isn't that cool? Yes. And the second one is the Hermit. So I've got the Magician and the Hermit. Completely happy with those two. It's fine. And the other thing I wanted to tell you about is that I've had 2 dreams. I referred to those just now. That may be of interest. I think it was Friday morning. I tend to dream between 6 and 9 in the morning, depending on when I wake up. I wake up whenever I wake up, and I tend to sort of get into, if you leave me to myself, I will have this dream cycle at the end of the night, and something is going to make a noise clanging down, because I can see my washing machine in there through the window, and there's a bucket on top of it. Just a second, guys. Rescue the bucket. Yes, that's actually ginger root confit. How do you say that? I have no idea how you say that. In sugar, boiled with sugar. And I tend to stir one of those around in my coffee sometimes when I feel like that's a good plan. Okay, so the dreams. 2 times I dreamed almost the same thing, and that's very unusual for me. The first time Friday morning, and the second time this morning, actually. So I dreamed the first time that I was getting locked up by other people in what was supposed to be the tomb of my great-grandfather, and it looked more like a mourning chamber in a funeral home, something like that. Very lavishly decorated. Maybe there's a reminiscence there of the Italian churches that I've visited during my holiday, quite possibly. Lots of Baroque, lots of red and white, strangely enough. And I couldn't really tell. There was this very elaborate coffin, I think. Sarcophagus is more like what it was. And all around it was red velvet or some such, and there were little rooms off to the side, and where they had performed all sorts of rituals for the spirit of my great-grandfather. I did visit his grave 2 years ago, and it is not like this the slightest. It's really funny to compare what that looked like in the dream and what it looked like in real life. It's on a Jewish graveyard near Amsterdam, and it's just a slab of stone with an inscription, in this time in Dutch, I think, or partly in Dutch, partly in Hebrew, and they're just in rows, gravestones like that, just like in the Jungholz cemetery video that I showed you, except it's just grass and there's high-rise buildings in the distance and a couple of trees, and that's it. It's just very flat, very unromantic and uninspiring, and it's squeezed. That graveyard is squeezed in between the highway, the motorway, and the railway. There's like this long, thin strip of country where they have left the Jewish graves. That's where my great-grandfather is actually lying. But in my dream, it was this huge, elaborate concoction of red and white, and I was messing around in one of those little back rooms because I'd found little pots that contained ancient, mumbling here, like incense holders or some such type of a ritual object that had been used for my great-grandfather, and I was basically fishing them out of the bin. That's the type of thing that I might do in a Roman Catholic church, but my great-grandfather wasn't a Roman Catholic. Duh. Okay, so I was busy with those items. I had 1 minute left, I knew that, and I was too late coming out of the room, and they'd locked me in, and I woke up before they could get me out. So I was like trying to bang on the door, but there were 2 doors. There was one door on my side, and then like a hallway or something in another door, and they'd locked both the doors, and I was trying to shout and bang on the door to let me out, and then I woke up. So and not so pleasant. I was sitting in my bed like, yo sir, what's supposed to I woke up and it's not real, but you still don't know what to do with yourself. This morning, part 2, the other dream, I was visiting like an old house, low built, just 1 floor, really. Couple of rooms, like very cluttered, very broken, abandoned little house, you could say. And in one of the rooms was a grave, yet another type of a gravestone or grave monument, or he was actually buried there, but this time it was my father who was buried there. I'm freaking myself out, thinking that maybe he passed away this night. Wouldn't that be? That's just how things tend to go. You know, it's weird. Life is weird. My life is really weird. And I sat there. I wasn't locked in. It was open to several sides of the house. Was just, broken down walls and rubble, basically. Stone, rubble, masonry, bits of bricks and stone wall. And I just sat there and I burnt a stick of rose incense for my dad. And then I woke up. And I went like, wow. So I made this decision about the social restaurant, and I dream the sort of the parallel brother dream of the other one, except in a positive way. So I thought that I just had to share that with you guys. What with the cards and all, I'm loving the Mary L again. Just now, it is the first edition, and I still haven't trimmed it, which is really atypical for me because I tend to trim everything because I hate frames around pictures and cards and images. But in this particular case of the Mary L, I have looked at videos, of course, of the new edition, and I'm still going drool and wanting, several copies, just like Simon does. Just give me the decks. Wow. But in this particular case, I actually feel that the frames contribute something, because normally if you have like, here's the Two of Swords, the card that I didn't get, the only one that I didn't get of those 3 twos, right? This here, it serves to separate the images from each other. And because the images are so full and so wild and so complex, and there's so much stuff going on and so much atmosphere in each, I feel each time I watch a video of somebody unboxing the new Mary L without the frames, I feel like I wouldn't be able to relate to each card as easily as I do now. So, whatever. Maybe for once this actually serves a purpose, even though the frames are really irregular, which I haven't really paid attention to. It's just that it's kind of a warm black, and I've gotten so used to this deck, and it's just such a wonderful deck to work with. Once you are into this very, I don't know, you have to be kind of on your own team emotionally and psychologically, and I was going to say poetically, on your own side, and that's hard. That's just it's a very intense process, and with all the completion work that I've been doing and all the rest of it, it's just like I've come back really to this deck as a completely different type of work, basically tarot wise, than using any other. Even though I have also loved using the Sasfarabito, I still love that, but that's my deck for the road really, because it's just this tiny little bag that contains everything that I need to do a spread or a draw on the road, and just that's really easy to take along, to take with me. So thank you for watching, you guys. I love you to pieces. I will be around again soon. I've got potentially also a bit of Shakti work update, because the Shakti has been instrumental in getting me to decide finally to be on my own team. So thank you. See you again soon. Bye bye. Okay.